I had a lot of fun with these. This actually reminded me of why and when I started drawing as a kid. Just repetitious drawing, seeing worlds, seeing shapes. You know, when you look in the sky, you see shapes and images in the clouds and stuff. And so I had a lot of fun. I wasn't able to put as much time as I wanted to, but I feel like the time that I was able to put into it, I really enjoyed it. So I was only able to get like maybe 200 of these things done. I wanted to do more like 400 or 600 because, as you mentioned, doing them every day is important, but I was out of the country and blah, blah, blah. It's always excuses, right? But the overall experience was really great for me personally. I really enjoyed it. And so, yeah, I mean, it was really fun. And it's cool to do these things, to see, you know, different realities as things progress and stuff. So and seeing through different things. So
I think you're doing a very good thing here, that you kind of keeping everything abstract. And like, I mean, for me, it's enough of stuff that you have here, like, even though I know you're a very busy guy. And you know what I really like about these studies? Most of them, they are quite abstract. Like in some places you kind of see, like, for example, what is this, right? Like it could be a big building, right?
Yeah.
Like, let me just screen grab it. And you will kind of see because I wasn't doing this and I'm looking on this like with a really fresh eye. The stuff I can see could be completely different from what you did there, and let me prove it over here. So, for example, at first glance, it could be like, okay, there is a guy, right? There's obviously a guy, and there is a huge building at the background, right?
Yeah.
Like you put just quite small change, and it could be like a sci-fi kind of setting, right? It's something big, or like it could be something different. You put like this, and it becomes like a cat or dog sitting next to the door, right?
Yeah.
This could be a door. Like all you need to do is like put a door number 7, and it becomes completely different setting.
Yeah.
So that's a very like the biggest power and of abstraction, because if you think about those things when you're drawing, it's very difficult to compose pictures because you're trying to think in terms of like subjects instead of trying to think in terms of abstract shapes and composition, just masses, you know, putting here and there.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of cool stuff, like for example this one over here.
I love the explanation of the zigzag. I didn't realize that, and I started putting that in all the sketches, and it was quite fun, just leading the eye with the zigzag.
Yeah, zigzag is amazing. Like you know, like we all know to learn composition, it's you need like at least 2 years of just to learn the basics, you know, there's so many rules. So that's why in all my lectures, I just try to summarize to the things that I use every time. So every time if I open the composition, just by drawing those zigzags, you can get most of, like, get the basic stuff in, you know?
Yeah, no,
just
absolutely.
By drawing that zigzag form. The only thing I would advise you when you're doing your zigzag, and I will show you in a couple of pieces, you kind of doing it over and over. And that would be, let me just find an example and I will tell you what I'm trying to say, to show, hold on. For example, even on this one, right? When you're doing your zigzag form, right? For example, let me pick and do zigzag. So this is like a perfect zigzag, right? It's like a zipper. Try to avoid using it like straight like this and in having all of those angles similar, right?
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So we have this guy, we have this guy, all of these guys similar. Instead of doing that, if you change them a little bit, like go like this, change the angle more dramatically, you see like all of these angles, they're different.
Yeah.
And here you basically, what are you doing? You're using a design element, which is a contrast, right? Instead of having them as a uniform thing all over the place, you kind of stretching those zigzags, and it always creates much more dynamic and interesting pictures. Like for example, if this was a composed picture, right?
Yeah.
Like you would just do this black, put a guy over here, and because you've got this all angles different, it gives you more of perspective as well, like more depth as well. Meanwhile, if you had like this one and you would do the same, it looks like a flat picture.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Mhm.
It looks more like you don't get the sense of distance, you know? And especially when you're doing like a landscapes, like any kind of landscape, this actually will help you to describe like the way it goes to vanishing point, you know?
Distance and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically you're creating the zigzag motion, but also you're compressing them as they go towards the frame.
Yeah.
And it's very simple. There's nothing like you can do wrong with it, you know? You just make sure that you keep attention to those angles.